Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts commentary, where we get a spooky image of the moon and the kids in the bathtub with the crank and the tail, which has also got one of the weirdest things I've ever fucking seen. Like, Jesus Christ, it's a walking bathtub. Is that thing meant to be like an organic creation, or is it a machine? Because it does have a crank sticking out of its ass, or what I presume is its ass. Wouldn't that be the plug hole? Whatever, I'm delving far too deep into this. I mean, considering the fact that we have ragdoll, anatomically correct women and fucking literal fucking skelly-welly boners running about, it probably doesn't bear thinking about. But now we have the Flying Heartless, which is, I think it's actually meant to be like a Halloween Town themed recolor of a certain future enemy we're going to be coming up against, so yeah, I guess the Heartless are also one way of reusing your assets in a way which makes sense, kind of. I don't know, I guess maybe to talk about the Heartless in and of themselves in terms of, like, enemies themselves, I think they serve a decent gameplay function, akin to that of the Tyrannoids from Ratchet & Clank 3. They can pretty much be just put anywhere because they're pretty much the main threat. Again, they have that sort of, like, cutesy Japanime kind of thing where, like, they have a bunch of different outfits which will make for great merchandise sales and kawaii-looking stuff or whatever, so, you know, and try as you might, you cannot high jump over there, so instead you gotta light the flame and light the way over there. Or, alternatively, you could just jump here, bounce over there, whatever, man. But yeah, you basically just use your targeting system to lock on, use fire, and you will pretty much float on over there. Don't know why you can't really lock on, but hey, whatever. Also, Sonic Blade isn't quite as useful because given the way the ground is sort of like, misshapen, again, you do have a tendency of going up in the air, which will pretty much cancel out your, Sonic Blade, and again, that can get really fucking annoying. But again, we do have more to see, because we're pretty much going to be seeing the maximum scope of what we had to see here. And I believe you also have access with, some exploding pumpkins, so again, you can use that to, your advantage. I can't even mind if you get some XP from them or not, but yeah, it's, something to keep in mind. I believe also, specifically with the later segment actually, I might talk about this next part, but again, like, I mean, if you are very vertically oriented and good with your Kingdom Hearts platforming, yeah, this is pretty much also where you're going to be getting a lot of usage out of the high jump and the Keyblade boosty. And again, strike some of the pumpkins, and they will explode. And, again, judging by what you can see over there, I'm pretty sure they also activate the platform that you need fire to operate. But yeah, part of the reason why this level can be a bit of a pain in the ass, or at least this segment specifically, is because, again, a lot of Heartless spawn, and much in the same vein as the treasure chest, you can't access them without, you know, enemies being around, so, again, you basically gotta, you know, do a bunch of different shit. But that's not important right now, because right now we have the, blue funguses, mushrooms, whatever, basically they're the blue, fungi, and, again, in how they differ from the black mushrooms and the white mushrooms, is that they are here specifically for experience. Like, I mean, what you're meant to do is that you hit them once, they disappear. But again, what you're meant to be doing is basically you're meant to lift them up in the air, and you'll be getting tech points from it. And the tech points basically go up by 1, but again, the amount of which you'll get, you know, it goes by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, by 7, so on and so forth. That's pretty much how much tech points you're getting. The more you bounce them up, the more you're basically going to be getting out of them. I believe, you need to get it up to 100 to get, some specific, materials that you need for synthesis. Again, this is kind of foggy memory at this point. Again, my memory of this was a lot clearer back when I first started the commentary, whereas now it's a couple of months later, and I've really kind of skipped in terms of recording and scheduling duties, but yeah, this is pretty much me just trying to play catch-up. But again, you do need to get up to 100 tech points to, well, you know, get all the synthesis materials and whatever else. I think what you get is mystery goo, or one of the other mysterious materials I can't quite remember at this point. But whatever, again, this is pretty much the area where the Keyblade boosty comes in handy. A little bit finicky, because again, if you have seen with some areas, his Keyblade does sort of react to coding and environment terrain, so again, basically just, again, you really need to use the Keyblade boosty at the right time, which can make platforming a bit of a pain in the ass, but again, you do have some solid bits of coding that you can sort of manipulate like that, and bada bing, you do the thing, get a defense up, and that little area over there where the grading wasn't there, that's pretty much how you get back to the main center, but don't use that way unless you have to, because, well, you're pretty much traversing back 2 different areas so you can get back to this area to begin with, so it's pretty much just a shortcut if you want to go back to the town square and see Professor Funkenstein, or whatever the fuck his name is. But I mean, putting all that aside, what's onwards to greener pastures? And by greener pastures, I don't mean through the mucky fucking sewer water. Goodness knows what sort of Tim Burton fetishistic nightmare fuel is lurking in here. Instead, let's look at the current Tim Burton nightmare fuel as he traverses in a bathtub over towards Spooky Boogie's crib. Yo, Diggy Dog. Spooky Boogie up in the house, hit house. And soak in the sights while you can, because this house is coming down. For you see, this is the house that Jack built. Down, 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 down. Open door so I come inside. Close my eyes, find a place to hide. As I sip, as I take it in. Let the show begin. I think I might have fucked up the lyrics there, but yes, we are going to be tumbling this house down, for this is the house that Jack built. And what you just saw there was an example of the magic stop. Again, another spell that I actually got great use out of in this playthrough. Again, I never really used stop, mainly because of the fact that I didn't really find its abilities all that useful to me in earlier playthroughs. Again, I didn't think... At least in my past experience, stop never really tended to last as long as I wanted it to, but that's mainly because I never really got around to upgrading it. And again, when you upgrade stop to, you know, stop guard and stopser... No, wait, I don't think we get that one, actually. But again, once you upgrade the stop magic a little bit more, it becomes really fucking useful, and is damn near essential for... Well, two instances specifically. The first of which is against the super bosses, which we'll be talking about at a later date. Excuse me. And another place where it comes in handy is actually in dealing with these sniper wilds that you saw in some of the previous parts when we were in Traverse Town. But again, this area is also a little bit tumultuous, mainly in the PS2 version, because there is a red trinity... there is a red trinity that you absolutely had to get, otherwise if you missed it, you would pretty much be shit out of luck, you would not get 100% completion, and therefore you'd pretty much be buggered out of the secret ending, and, well, yeah, you'd pretty much be screwed at this point. While recording this, I actually wasn't too sure if it was fixed for Final Mix, although, again, I eventually found out that it was. And again, you'll be seeing it where they relocated it in this very part, so don't worry, you'll be knowing where to go. But yeah, the Trinity was initially located right next to that little, tool shed over there. The one right again, if we can turn the camera around, you'll see where it is. Yeah, right next to that little tool shed thing right over there. So again, if you're playing the PS2 version with the original version of Kingdom Hearts, I think mainly for the US release, yeah, get it right there, otherwise you are pretty much fucked. But I mean, otherwise that's pretty much the only thing you have to worry about. I did kind of fret about this while playing through it, but again, I think I might have been just stressing out over nothing really, so just chill, dudes. But in the meantime, it's pretty much just making our way to stop Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Barrel himself, I think, was initially also voiced by Danny Elfman, in a weird twist of fate. Which is also kind of funny, because I think he was also initially slated to voice Jack Skellington in the original movie, who... I think the only reason why he didn't end up going through it was because his voice acting performance wasn't quite as good for the speaking lines as it was for his singing, so... yeah, they pretty much got Chris Sarandon to do it, and, well, Danny Elfman took over the singing duties. Although I heard apparently in the Oogie's Revenge, which is basically like the Devil May Cry for Kids PS2 game based on The Nightmare Before Christmas, Chris Sarandon actually did his own vocals, but I don't know, I can't confirm it, I haven't played it. Though it, then again, if it is inspired by Devil May Cry style combat, might be worth a look. I don't know. But again, this is continuing to get decent mileage out of Force. But again, one of the problems with these little flying bat things is that they can become incorporeal, bugger around for a little bit, and basically you gotta wait for them to recorporealize and then you can kick the shit out of them. We call it pussy mode where I come from. Actually no, we just call it tactics, kind of. Well, just delaying the inevitable really. You need your inevitable shit kicking and they try to delay it. I will still say though, like, I mean, I do like Halloween Town for being this expansive sort of level, because, I mean, there are a lot of nooks and crannies for you to explore, specifically in this area as well, as you explore through different cages and, you know, treasure chests and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, though, it's also a matter of giving you things to do, and again, like, I mean, besides story content... Well, okay, let me put it this way. In terms of story content and in terms of Final Mix for getting synthesis items and materials, you will be coming back here, but you don't really have too much to do in terms of extra stuff that will keep the player engaged. But then again, I suppose that's mainly more of an issue for someone who's trying to complete the game 100% without buggering around with any of the sort of bullshit, but I don't know. It does make a return visit to Halloween Town a little bit more of a dull slog, but then again, that might just be from my memories of having to grind here for the sake of the super bosses and everything, so again, maybe that's just more of a me problem rather than anybody else. But I mean, apart from that, everything I said in the previous part and all the positive praises that I had to say about the art style, the content in terms of what it has in terms of its story, apart from the missed opportunity of, you know, including Riku in the level to get a heart for Kairi, I don't know. I will still say that so far, and what we still have yet to do, is pretty solid. I like this world, and I should probably get around to watching Nightmare Before Christmas at some stage. I mean, we'll be getting back to it for Kingdom Hearts 2, so maybe, just maybe, I might be able to watch it.
Oh, but what if I get scared? That's why Disney didn't want it on their repertoire, which is why they put it with Touchstone Pictures.
What am I talking about? I have no idea. It's pretty much just padding while we slam some Heartless down, motherfuckers. Another bit of tangential shit to talk about, really, is actually the fact that Tim Burton was quite heavily fighting tooth and nail to prevent a sequel to the Nightmare Before Christmas from ever being made, out of the worry that it might sully the integrity of the original. And I mean, honestly, like, I mean, props to him for doing so, but I mean, like, yeah. I don't know. I don't really have any sort of argument for that. That might be for the best, all things considered. Anyway, onto minor encounters with Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Basically, it means you get to beat the shit out of children. Probably shouldn't be thinking about that too hard, but hey, Sora's like a kid, and at the age where he could at least babysit them, I guess, so, yeah. Kill them, Sora. Beat them up. They've been very, very naughty. They have been very naughty kids, and they deserve the back of my hand. I don't know why I'm doing that accent either. It's just a fucking voice acting parade here today. But again, as you could no doubt tell, they pretty much sent the heart down to Spooky Boogie through the fucking tube dumbbell dumbwaiter kind of thing. So yeah, these kids just sort of go, oh, we're just following orders, we're children, a boo-hoo, a boo-hoo-hoo, a blue. Yes, you should be ashamed of yourselves, yada yada yada, whatever. The fat one is obviously the bullied one, the ginger kid is obviously the creepy one who would eat a bug if he was dead to do it, and the witch girl is like the leader because she got brains in the stains of the darkness of Halloween Town. Whatever. Gotta say though, like, I mean, one bit of artistic fidelity that I do love about this level is actually the moon itself. Again, probably one of the most iconic parts of the Nightmare Before Christmas, again, like, you know, the hill and the moon and all that. But again, it's really vibrant that time of night. It, I don't know, it's just attractive. Well, then again, like, I mean, I'm always a sucker for a good bit of moonlight, especially whenever there's a full moon out. It, just makes me want to transform, become wolfy. I feel aroo, honk honk. What the fuck am I even talking about, really? Again, at this point, basically all you have to do is just head down to the Spooky Boogie basement, and then you'll pretty much have your boss encounter. But again, if you want to go out of your way to make sure you get that Trinity before you do, at least if you're playing the original PS2 version, because otherwise you will be well and truly fudged. But again, you can pretty much just go down, get the red... I'll pretty much be showing you at this point where the other red Trinity is, where they moved it from the original location. And pretty much just gathering treasure chests, and that's about it, dude. And again, you might be thinking that, again, if you go all the way down here, you have no other way to get back up. Fear not, because that walking bathtub that Lock, Shock, and Barrel used to get up there, you can pretty much use to get right back up anyway, so... Yeah, again, if you happen to fall off while grinding like a complete and total dumbass, well, you can pretty much just rest your fears right here. Again, that door over there, which has Spooky Boogie's face on it, is pretty much right where you have to go. I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have gone off there, but again, I think I was rather paranoid about getting that red Trinity just in case it wasn't patched out of the final mix version, but then again, since it was one of the bigger known fixes of the game, I guess maybe I probably shouldn't have been too antsy in the pantsy about it. I mean, all the same though, like, it's I don't know. It's just one of those, like, when you're playing the game and you have that sort of paranoia and you want to investigate, rather than just sort of sticking to a specifically recorded schedule of what you want to show off and anything else, it's just one of those things that sort of gets you in the heat of the moment, really. I don't know if anybody else has this, but I mean, I don't know, it's just a process that usually goes through my mind whenever I'm, you know, doing commentaries or filming for reviews or whatever. I don't know. That's pretty much where they relocated the Trinity. I do believe there is another Trinity that you can only access after certain events in the plot have progressed, but again, I'll stay my tongue on that until much later. And again, we also have Donald casting Arrow now, which eliminates the purpose of us doing it up until, well, a certain super boss, but the less said about that, the better. And again, to once again reiterate on what Arrow does, it's a defensive spell. You would have thought you could have used it as like this cool like tornado like attack kind of thing. Like you spin your Keyblade around and the tornado just like sweeps up enemies and, you know, you could have done some cool shit with it. But no, it's a purely defensive spell. And I mean, I guess I can see how it would be, but I don't know, man. I always kind of saw like aerial attacks, well, aerial attacks, air focus attacks as like kind of offensive really. Well, I mean offensive, but at the same time like, the sort of thing where you could like disarm opponents by like shove like huge breezes and shit. I don't know. That might just be my creative instincts talking. Anyway, that's enough for us. Let's
Settle down, let's drink some potions and set up a cottage here, go camping, tell us our spooky stories in the fire. This is a story about how I like a flip turn upside down. I met Chris Sarandon.
And now we're pretty much gonna kick Spooky Boogie's ass.
You want it? Well then come on over and get it! Ah! Now, let's see if I can get their attention! Oh, homo! This is it? Nobody disrespects me! Nobody!
Well, doesn't this look familiar? Yes, indeed, we are once again back to the torture chamber with Spooky Boogie launching a bunch of different attacks. Again, he'll yell, "Pawn, baby!" Roll the dice, and basically, depending on what he rolls, will depend on what attacks end up coming out. He'll have a few paltry Heartless come out, but again, basically, get to the right center square that he's on. Again, once you get to it, you'll pretty much rise up, and, well, gives you an opportunity to beat the shit out of him. Not that he's really giving us a chance to, because all he can really do is just sort of perform happy slaps, and eventually just shove you down to basically just sort of waste time, really. But again, it's now time for some fucking dissonance. Fucking here. Oh god, Jesus Christ, this is... Actually, and you know what, it's fucking apropos that we have Dumbo here, because again, if my information is correct, didn't Tim Burton direct like the live-action remake of Dumbo? I think. Yeah, Dumbo's pretty fucking useless. I think I only really summoned him just for the sake of a joke, but... Jesus Christ. Again, to go into Dumbo's summon a little bit more, like, I mean, basically all he does is that he's literal splash damage. Like, I mean, he'll you know, press the square button and he'll spray water at you, and that's pretty much all he wrote. I guess it's meant to be good for crowd control, but I don't really end up using him all that much because, well, he's a dumbass, and really, it's not an applicable situation to use him in. And again, if you don't get the right corner with Spooky Boogie, well, you're pretty much screwed. He'll explode you back down, and you gotta do it all again. Like, again, he'll launch explosive dice, he'll launch down those little fan blades to try and chop you up. Can actually cause a significant bit of damage, actually, so I'd really watch out for that little blade attack, but apart from that, it's really just more of a waiting game to try and catch Spooky Boogie in the act, find the right square that he's in, and, well, attack him when he enters your sector.
It's basically like Gang Wars, you know, he's like Ebola and we like Grove Street motherfuckers. So we gotta corner him and kick his ass.
And I've really got to stop playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which I haven't played in years at this point, but hey, I've kind of felt in the mood for a bit of 2000s nostalgia, so yeah. Gangster as hell, bitch. And I tried to use gravity magic thinking it would do something because he's, you know, literally a bag of bugs, but no, nothing happens. I mean, if there are any specific magic spells that do some significant damage to Spooky Boogie, I haven't found them yet, but Again, I'm sure there's probably some sort of Kingdom Hearts strategy guide online or something or other that does highlight that. I mean, really, I think the only thing you can do to Spooky Boogie is just physical attacks on him, because, like, I mean, unlike Chain of Memories when you did have zero cards that could cancel out some of his, like, dice rolls, you don't really have any such thing here. Excuse me. Distractions, they happen. I apologize, but the outer elements have interfered with us. Just make you want to say, pawn, baby. But yeah, I kind of forgot what I was initially talking about. Yeah, I don't really know if there's any particular bits of magic that could be particularly useful here. Well, I mean, I guess maybe thunder magic might be useful depending on how highly leveled it is, but I don't know, like, I mean, out of all my playthroughs, this is the one where I used thunder the least. Well, I mean, apart from when it was kind of required for it, but I mean, that's besides the point, and we'll be getting to that at a later date, because I mean, the problem with fire, as you saw right there, again, if you're not high enough to let the fireball, you know, properly reach its target with the auto-targeting lock kind of thing, yeah, it just doesn't really seem to have range, because it either hits the environment, or it just, you know, likes the range and fizzles out, as fire is known to do with the lack of oxygen when it finally burns itself out. Although, now that I think about it, I think Strike Raid might be the way to go, because, I mean, as you saw beforehand with, Sonic Blade, like, I mean, you can't really hit Spooky Boogie with as much accuracy as you'd like, because, you mean, you'd end up slipping off the platform, then he lowers it and raises it and tries to attack you, bada bing, you do the thing. But I think with the Strike Raid, again, given the Keyblade spin radius being large enough to sort of phase through objects, I think that might be the best way to go in terms of physical attacks. I mean, it's ranged, you can hit him with enough range so that it counts, and Strike Rate itself is pretty powerful, so yeah, man, I think that might just be the way to do it. But apart from that, you're pretty much just, well, hitting Spooky with your Keyblade, so I suppose this boss battle can be seen as a bit of an exercise in frustration, but I mean, it at least has more going on for it than, say, the Parasite Cage or anything else, really, so I don't know, it's got some dynamics to it, but I mean, really, it does become a bit of a waggle fest in terms of just trying to take him down. And again, I mean, looking at it with Donald, I don't think Thunder Magic, well, I think it depends on how highly leveled your Thunder Magic is, doesn't really seem to be doing that much, so I don't know if this sort of level would benefit playing it, you know, way later in the game, or as one of the final stages you do before getting towards endgame territory, so I don't really know what to make of it. And again, it's, I don't know, I guess maybe my biggest bugbear is, funny bugbear. But again, I suppose my biggest point on the sand is that it does kind of take a while, which well, another day, another squashed bug. So on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, and I will see you dudes and dudettes next time. Bye-bye.